Welcome to part 3 of this video on Malachi chapter 3 a little bit, and now we're in the book of James, and we're showing the harmony in the scriptures. And so James chapter 5 verse 1, I'm going to read again, and this is in the emphatic diaglott, Greek interlinear translation. Come now, you rich, and weep and lament over those miseries of yours which are approaching. So this is speaking to the rich of the earth. As we saw in Malachi 3, it said the Most High, in the day of redemption, in this time that we're living in, which we understand in the scriptures to refer to the last days. The last days of what? The last days of selfishness. The last days of legalized thievery. The last days of corrupt politicians. The last days of false religion and confusion. One day everyone will know there's one God, Yahweh, and everyone will call upon His one name, and everyone will have a pure language. So there is a restoration of all people happening in our time, and it's beginning to happen, and one day this knowledge will cover the earth, and it's a guarantee, and that's a promise. And part of this is the justice that Yahweh has for His people. He's gonna bring us out of this corrupt system as He brought Israel out of Egypt long ago. So those that have held back the wagers or oppressed the wage earners, the wages of the laborers in their field, it talks about this in verse 5 of chapter 3 of Malachi. So come now, you rich, because there's miseries approaching you. Your rich stores have decayed, and your garments have become moth-eaten. All this wealth they have is basically rotting away. It's being wasted. They're making billions of dollars and not sharing it when people are suffering. You know, and people are suffering for malnutrition. People are dying every day because they can't get a little bit of salt. Children are dying. They don't even get a chance to live because of these selfish people. So this is why so long ago the prophets and the apostles began to speak these things. It says verse 3 of James 5, your gold and silver has become rusted, and the rust of them will be for a testimony against you. So their amount of wealth that they've stored up is a witness against them. You know, and consume your bodies like fire. This will end up burning them up in a sense, symbolic, you know. Again, the fire, as we read in Malachi 3, the fire represents a purification, you know, but the unclean will get cast out, will not get purified. So they're going to have to get purified, but it's harder for the rich man, you know, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. But it's still possible. Man can, you know, let go of their riches. But it says, so your gold and silver have become rusted. The rust of them shall be for you a testimony against you, and consume your bodies like fire. You have laid up treasures for the last days. Again, this is their last days when they are purified. This is the same time it says, see, I am sending my messenger. He shall prepare the way for me. Then suddenly the master who you are seeking shall come to his hekal, his temple, and even the messenger of the covenant in whom you delight, he is coming, says Yahweh of hosts. The messenger of the covenant, the Most High's covenant, is promised to us to bring these blessings, to redeem us, to bring justice, to expose religion and business that has totally gotten wealthy off the human race. So verse 4 of James 5, behold, woe unto them that hire, I added that in, but it says, behold, that hire which you fraudulently withheld from those laborers who harvested it in your fields cries out. So the wages that they fraudulently withheld from the laborers, you know, the pay, who harvest in their fields or who work in their factories or who work for them, has been held out. Those that harvest your fields, this cries loud, you know. And the loud cries of the reapers have entered into the ears of Yahweh Sabaoth. So I'm going to read it here. Why? The wages which you have withheld from the laborers who have reaped your harvests cry aloud, and the cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of Yahweh Sabaoth. You have lived luxuriously and voluptuously here on earth. So you have gotten all the desires of your heart. You have lived, and you have fattened your hearts for the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the upright. This is what has happened. And so even in the BP explosion accident, 11 people died. People have died just for business. I mean, think about long ago what they did in America with slavery. And let me tell you, right now there's people suffering and dying in working conditions that they shouldn't be in these sweatshops around the world. The Most High has not forgotten us. he sees this, and I wanted to, to finish this off on a positive. I want to show you what the Most High tells us here in verse 7 of James. He says, "So be patient, brothers, until the coming of the master. The farmer has to wait for the precious crop from the ground and be patient with it until it gets the early and late rains. You must have patience too. So endure. You must keep up your courage, for the coming of the master is close at hand, and the kingdom is at hand." Okay, so this is what we have to do. And remember, a prayer is very, very important. In verse 13 it says, "If any one of you is in trouble, he should pray. And if anyone is in good spirit, he should sing a hymn." And then it says in verse 17, "Elijah was a man like us, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain for 3 years and 6 months, and there was no rain in the land. Then he prayed again, and the heavens yielded rain, and the earth produced crops. My brother, if any one of you is led astray from the truth, and someone brings him back, you may be sure that whoever brings a sinner back from his misguided way will save a man's soul from death and cover up a host of sins." So we're here to bring each other back, to return, as in Hebrews, teshuvah, to make a full return. The Most High says, "Return to me and I will return to you." And I love you all. Shalom. We'll be in touch. One love.